Hello, everyone. Bonjour à tous. My name is Puneet. Je m'appelle Puneet. And today we are doing the week 5 of French workshop. Aujourd'hui, nous ferons des ateliers de français. I think I missed saying the week. C'est semaine 5. I think you all know 5 now. C'est semaine 5. Okay. This week is about food and drinks. So, la nourriture, la indicating it is, it has a feminine gender. Les boisons, what does les indicate? I think we discussed this in the past. Anybody wants to answer in the chat or out loud, you're welcome to answer. What does les mean? Thank you, Vatsal. Les means it's plural. Okay, food and drinks. That is going to be the topic of today. The goal is to expand your vocabulary. We're mostly just focusing on understanding how to say different food names in French, and also to make small sentences to be able to order food or drinks in French. Okay, so that's going to be the goal for today. I think I was ahead of myself. In the slides now, we will be using some French sentences. You're not supposed to be able to understand everything, but it is to introduce you to more and more French. So aujourd'hui, this word over here, that is the word we use for today. So I do say this word oftentimes in class during introductions, but this is something that it's a common word to use every day, so it's good to know that. It's called aujourd'hui. Nous allons apprendre à commander un café en français. Today we're going to learn to order at a cafe in French. I do want you to note that the word cafe, it's the same word that they use for coffee and a cafe. So au means at the cafe, and then un café is also used for a coffee. Okay, so un café is like an object, a coffee, but if I say au café, it means at the cafe. And you know, so in English, the word for cafe is just CAFE. We don't really use this accent over here, but the pronunciation is such that there is an accent, and there are a lot of English words where you don't see those French accents, but the pronunciation's that way because of the accents. For example, the word resume, right? It's a French word, résumé, with that little accent because this is the A sound. Remember, we said this was the actual A sound in English, so it sounds like A. So résumé is a French word, but we don't really use the accent, but we still pronounce it as résumé, although there's no accent on it in English. Anyway, so there are words like that derived from French, kept the same way without the accent, but then the pronunciation becomes it's like the same pronunciation. Okay, so aujourd'hui nous allons. Notice how I pronounce allons. If it was alone, it would just be allons. But because the next word is followed by a vowel, now the pronunciation is allons apprendre, right? The S at the end becomes like you can hear the sound of the S because the word next to it starts with a vowel. So nous allons apprendre. Same thing here actually. Nous allons apprendre. If it was something like nous, I don't know, maybe, actually, that's another word. That's another vowel, but, or something like that. Nous faisons. Then I would just, the nous pronunciation is just nous. Nous faisons, because this is a consonant. So when there are two consonants side by side, this one is not pronounced. However, when it was nous and then allons, because this is a consonant and this is a vowel right next to each other, we'll say nous allons. Okay? And then nous allons apprendre à commander. À commander means to order at a cafe en français. Okay. Anyway, moving on. This is the vocabulary you need to know for today. There's no pronunciation here, so I might just write that for you. The first one is apple. It's une pomme. Okay, une pomme. So it's more like the pronunciation is just like pomme. Une pomme. Can anybody tell me what does une mean? What is this for? It is a feminine article, exactly. Actually, before we get started, I should talk about the articles just briefly that we did. So in English, we only have three articles. We have a, an, and the. Pretty simple. In French, well, there are more. First, there are articles like le, la, and L apostrophe. And then there is this. These are forms of the article the in English. So when you were to add the article the in English, in French, it has these four forms. Now, we know le is masculine, la is feminine. This one's plural. What about this L apostrophe? We did something about L apostrophe. What's that used for? Yes, excellent. This is used if your word is a vowel. Do you remember the exception where we used L apostrophe even though it was a consonant word? Like it wasn't a vowel, but we still used L apostrophe. It was in the last class. We did the word, I think, uh, l'hôtel, which is the hotel. Oh, yes, Kelly, excellent. H, because H is silent, right? So we don't really hear the consonant sound, we hear the vowel sound, so we still use L apostrophe. But L apostrophe is used for words that usually begin with vowels. Excellent. Okay, so this is the definite article the, right? Then there are indefinite articles like a and an. And in French, those are represented by un, une. Un for masculine, une for feminine. And then for plural for both, we use they. Okay, they. This is the word that we use for plurals. Okay. I do want to let you know that here we don't have something like this for vowels. The reason for that is if you look at le and la, so let's say I wanted to say le avion. There are two vowels right next to each other. Or sorry, I think it's l'avion. What I want to emphasize on the fact is that there are two vowels right next to each other. And when that happens, we don't really, in majority of the cases, we don't really like that. Therefore, we use the contraction like this, l'avion. There are exceptions though. There's a sentence we did last week, which was elle est belle. Here, I know there are two E's right next to each other, but we still don't use the contraction. Many times we would, but there will be exceptions where you wouldn't. So yeah, there's no particular rule here. I wonder if there still could be like a rule of thumb to sort of predict most of the times. However, yeah, you like for me, I just had to memorize that or like remember as you practice more and more that, oh, here we use this and here we don't. But oftentimes for objects, especially, absolutely there will be the contraction where the vowel and L would become L apostrophe. Okay. Just gonna get rid of this. And we'll keep that. All right. Let's continue with the other words. But before I proceed, does anybody have any questions? Did this make sense? What is definite and indefinite articles, and what are they all used for? You'll keep encountering these words again and again. Okay. All right. I see a thumbs up. Thank you for that. That was okay. Une pomme, that's apple. Une banane. So the last E is not pronounced. This one might be easy for us to remember because it's just like banana, but just banan because the A is an E at the end. So banan, right? That's how it's pronounced. Both of these have feminine, they're both feminine gendered. The other four, the next four are masculines. Le pain, pain. Actually, it's more like, and then a nasal N sound. Pain. And cheese, which is the most, I think, should be one of the most famous French words. Le fromage. That's one of the first words I learned in French was cheese, le fromage. So, pho, again, the roll your R, h, h, more like a h sound, fro, fro, and then mage, fromage. That's kind of the pronunciation of this. So far we have une pomme, une banane, le pain, le fromage, and then rice is le riz, just riz. The Z is silent again. It's just if again you can't roll your R's, just say riz, or if you can, just use the word h, h, riz. Okay, and then we have chicken, le poulet. It's like poo and then lay. Poo or and then lay. The T is silent. Poulet. The other two I think should be easy for us to remember because they're just like their English words. Une salade. It's actually pronounced salad. I don't know if there are any Punjabi speaking, Hindi speaking students here, but that's literally the pronunciation of salad in Punjabi. We say salad. So it's une salade, right? Okay, great. So salad with a the at the end instead of D. It's not D as in Dior, it's the as in the salad, right? Salad. Une salade. But feminine gender. And then we have sandwich, and it's pronounced sandwich. So remember anytime you see that A in French, that's an ah sound, right? So I know in English we say sandwich, but in French it's the ah sound. It's sandwich, sandwich, in sandwich. Okay, so it's more like a sand and then wich, sandwich. Are we good with the pronunciations, everybody? A thumbs up if you're all good with the pronunciations. Yeah, okay, great. I do see some thumbs up. Perfect. Now I'm going to go through them once in terms of pronunciation and genders. And then in the next slide, I might ask you some questions. So try to remember. Oh, and there's a fun one. In French, earth is called terre. Okay. Maybe you can remember this from from the word um, terrestrial. Oh, Himali says share again for rice. Yes, it's le riz. So these are two separate ones. This is for the ones who can't roll their R's, they can just say le riz. If you can roll your R's, you should say le riz. Okay, so from the very back of your throat, it's um I was I was talking to my mom yesterday and we were talking about the Punjabi pronunciations and she said it's just like when you say khat in Urdu. So if there are any Urdu speaking people here, you say khat and it comes from really from the back of your throat when you say the word khat. So it's really just like that, le khi. So it's yeah. It could be helpful for people from South Asia because we use the kh sound a lot in Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, especially. Yeah, okay, that's a quite familiar word, right? Okay, good. So try to think about that when you roll your R's. This is exactly where the word kh comes from. R comes exactly from there. Um, okay. Okay, perfect. I wanted to tell you that, in French, the word earth is terre, and une pomme de terre. That is the name of a vegetable. Can we guess what this means? So its literal translation in English would be an apple off the ground. Okay, there we go. It's potato. Yeah, I love this. It always makes me laugh, but I love that une pomme de terre means a potato. So it's an apple that comes from the ground. Um, yeah. Okay. Just something extra I just thought of when we read the word pomme. Okay, so the words we did, une pomme, une banane, le pain, le fromage, le riz, le poulet, une salade, un sandwich. Are we good? Do we understand the pronunciation of everything? Are we remember? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, try to remember the French word for each of these because okay, now we have some drinks. Um, so this is just water. That's the l'eau. We did different combinations of letters and what they sound like, and one of those combinations was EAU in the last class, and we said that's just O. Okay. Kelly, I love you said way. It's like a native way. Um, just a reminder for students who maybe weren't present in the last class. We is more like a yes, right? But we know in everyday English we use the word way. I mean, sorry, we use the word yeah instead of yes. We're like, yeah, I'll be there. So in French, that word for yeah is way. So instead of hearing the word we, you will hear the word way a lot, like way c'est ça, things like that. So it makes you sound a little more native. That was the tip for last week. Okay, our first water, the l'eau. You don't even need to honestly learn about the right now. L'eau is fine. Water. Un café. That's coffee. We already know that. We did that earlier. And now for the tea lovers, it's just un thé. Okay. The A is from this accent, the A English sound, and TH is just the sound. Sorry for people who don't know Punjabi because I have so many Punjabi references. This is literally the word the okay, which to others may look like a three, but in if I'm doing the Punjabi translation, it's the word the. So anyway, they, and the last one is last one in this row is orange juice, and this is un jus d'orange. Okay, this reminds me of another thing that I want to tell you. You know how in English we say things like maybe I'll say Puneet's book, right? We use this, which shows possession, like Puneet's book. And in French, you don't use this possession. Instead of possession, we say things like the book of Puneet, you know. So it'll be like livre de Puneet. So I wanted to maybe tell you that because a lot of the times you'll see this one, especially, you know, une pomme de terre or un jus d'orange. The literal translation is a juice of orange because they they don't use possession. It's not like orange juice or Puneet's book or um, what other example can I use? What other words have I done? Or wow, I'm blanking. But we could say maybe like Kelly's car. So we in French we would say la voiture de Kelly. So we would say la voiture. We did this word last week, and then we'll say the Kelly, right? So when you see this, and by the way, we have used this apostrophe here because it would have been the orange. And when you have two vowels right next to each other, what do? Apostrophe and then orange. Okay, so un jus d'orange, it just means juice of orange, which means orange juice. Are we good with that concept? I may bring this up again later when you see it, but I just wanted to let you know. Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. I see some thumbs up. Okay, so un jus d'orange, orange juice, un chocolat chaud. Chocolate is chocolat. So kind of easy to remember. Okay, we said some hearts, hot chocolate lovers. Another interesting thing, and I'm sorry I have so many things to tell you in this class, and it might be a lot, and that's why I'm writing this. You know, in English, we always use adjectives before the noun. So we say hot, chocolate, or cold, ice, or big, building, right? The adjectives are always before the nouns. In French, it's a mix. Sometimes they're before the nouns, sometimes they're after the nouns. In a lot of cases, they're written after the nouns. So your noun here is un chocolat. And the word chaud is, word for hot, that's an adjective to describe un chocolat, and it is written after the noun. Okay, so that is one discrepancy that you're gonna have. It is one thing where English is consistent and French is kind of not. So sometimes it's before, sometimes it's after. I don't know the rule of thumb to decide when to do what. I could look something up, but this is just I wanted to let you know right now. The reason we write adjective later is because it's a trend in French, and many times you would see that noun and then the adjective to describe it later. If you watched Emily in Paris, you may be able to pick up on a few things. I've only watched one season, but one of the things I remember is like they said, yeah, and well, I wish it was a little more in French, but anyway, um, I think one of the things that I picked on was la semaine prochaine, like they said something like that. Yeah, right, Victoria? Same. So, um, instead of saying next week, they were like, or like next Thursday, I think, yeah, it was like next Thursday, we would say that in English, but they said jeudi prochain. So like Thursday, and then use the word prochain after that. So when you maybe um watch cartoons or some shows in French, you may be able to pick up on these things. So, okay. We never did days of the week in French. I think we should do that maybe. Does anybody know days of week in French? No? Okay. Yeah, Victoria and Anmol, you do. That's good. That's really good. Um, One day we will learn days and year and months. Sorry, yeah, days and months, not years. Okay. Last one is do les. The reason we have do here, sometimes when, so you see all of the other ones have been un café, un thé. That's a coffee, a tea. Um, Milk is usually, you will sometimes see this word actually in front of many food items. You may also see it in front of like du riz, du poulet. When you have like a specific quantity, like for example, rice, it's not really something that you can count. It's like just numerous of them. Same with milk. Sometimes you will see these articles in front of it. It just means some. Like if I were to translate it, it just means some milk, some rice, some poulet, some chicken. Sorry. So in especially in front of food items, you may encounter this word a lot. Du lait, but lait is milk. Okay. Um, Now that we know this, I'm going to go to the next slide and I'm just going to ask some questions. And you may answer in the chat. It's just to revise what we've learned in terms of vocabulary. Okay, so what was the word for bread? What was bread in French? If le pain. Excellent. So that is exactly right. And Molly, you're right as well. Um, Kelly just put in the chat all the days of the week. Okay, well, since somebody just put days of the week in the chat, I'm going to just write lundi is Monday. Sorry, everybody, le pain is correct. Let's quickly just revise the days of the week. If you didn't know that, it's something to again remember. You can practice now. Tuesday is mardi. These are actually based on the planet names in French. Like if the word, I think mardi comes from the planet Mars, which is Mars. Mercredi, that's Wednesday. I was watching this reel on Instagram and they were like, oh, this planet is this day. And I think probably Mercredi was, I don't know, maybe Jupiter or sorry, Mercury, Mercury. That makes sense. Um, but this was a good way to remember the planets and days together in one go. I'll try to find the link of that reel and send it to you in the post-workshop email. So lundi, mardi, mercredi. Oh, Kelly, I think you forgot the word mercredi in there. Wednesday. And then we have jeudi. That's Thursday. And then we have vendredi. Von Oh, I hope my handwriting is understandable. That's Friday. Then we have Saturday, which it's perfect. Samedi. That's Saturday. Yeah, no problem. I just noticed. You're good. And then Sunday is dimanche. Dimanche. Remember, I think we probably did this combination of letters maybe earlier. Ange. I think we did ange, like orange, but it's kind of like the same idea. Ange at the end. That's Sunday. Okay, that's days of the week in French. Um, okay. We'll revisit days of the week and months later as well, but let's focus on this. What was water? Everybody, and try to use the articles because so that you remember, because it's all memorization. The more you write and revise, the better you will forget the genders of different things. So water, yes, what so I think it was lu low. It means it was some water, but everybody who's saying low is also correct. So if you said the low or just low, it is fine. Was it the or do? Yeah, it was the. Um, okay. Um, Victoria, it won't be oh my gosh, sorry. It won't be the lo like this. Why is this incorrect? Somebody in the chat, please tell me, or unmute yourself and tell me why is this incorrect? It should be DE. Why am I not putting an apostrophe here like I did with orange, d'orange? Any idea why? It has to do with the fact that here E is not followed by a vowel, right? This is a consonant. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's exactly right, Victoria. It's yeah, the vowel. Only when it is followed by a vowel, you need to do the contraction. Or some letter like H, which is silent, then you do the contraction. But here, this would be incorrect because the lo, this is vowel followed by a consonant letter. Therefore, we can't do that. Okay, so I'll remove it from here. Or should I keep it in this, keep an X so that people remember not to do that? Okay. What else did we do? We did, oh, cheese. I love the word cheese in French, actually. So le fromage. Excellent. C'est excellent. Is it le or la? Kelly, I think cheese is masculine. Yeah. Cheese is masculine, yes. It's le fromage. Okay, good. Um, okay, so bread, water, cheese. We had apple, rice. Let's do apple. Apple is income. Exactly. Thank you. Fatzel, that is correct. Good. Anmol, that's correct. Rabjot, good job. Kelly, excellent. Oh, you were saying cheese again. Okay. We're doing apple. Le fromage. You corrected yourself from earlier. Okay, excellent. Okay. Amazing, everybody. Okay. Just going back one more time. I do repeat a lot of times because it's the more you hear and revise, the better you remember. So une pomme, une banane, le pain, le fromage, le riz, le poulet, une salade, une sandwich. And with drinks, we had l'eau, un café, un thé, un jus d'orange, un chocolat chaud, du lait. Yes, that's exactly right. Himal, if you're saying it's the pronunciation. Le riz is the pronunciation, and this would be the actual word. Le riz, the spellings of it for rice. Okay. Coming to short sentences, we're going to learn if you were to go somewhere and you were to order something, or excuse me. If you were to go somewhere and you were to order, especially at a cafe or food court, usually we like to be polite when we order. We don't say, I want sandwich. We say, I would like a sandwich, right? We use the word I would like. By the way, this is, I want to introduce some very common words in French. For example, things like I want, I can. So I want is je veux. That means I want. I want. So I think we're in week 5 now, so you may try making very, very small sentences. Like if you're at home and if you're getting an apple for yourself, just say je veux une pomme. I want an apple, so I'm going to take an apple, right? I want an apple. The other one is I can. Je peux. Je peux. Je veux, je peux. I can dance maybe, or I can learn, like I can learn French, I can. The word for learn, I think we say or you may hear it in every class. I haven't really written it, but it's apprendre. I can learn. Je peux apprendre le français. You could write le français. So you could try doing very small sentences on your own, but I just wanted to introduce to you these two words, je veux and je peux. These can only be used with je as in this form. With other things like you or they or he or she, it takes a different form. So right now we're only learning je veux and je peux. So I want and I can. That's all I'm going to introduce to you today. So yeah. But je voudrais is instead of saying I want, you could say I would like. It's a more polite way of ordering food in French. It's voudrais. So vous, there's a the sound and trais. Voudrais. Okay, je voudrais. And then whatever you need. For example, you go to a cafe and you're like, je voudrais un café. And if you want to add the word please, what's please in French? How would you say please? Does anybody know?
S'il vous plaît?
S'il vous plaît. Yes, exactly. Prabjot, was that you? You unmuted yourself, right? Okay. I'm going to, yes, okay. I'm going to again use some reference. This is for languages um where you have things where there's a formal way of saying things and then there's an informal way of saying things. English, we don't really have that in terms of like you. So even if somebody is younger than you or older than you, or if it's your boss or your kid, like you just say the word you, which is really good because, equality and all. But in many languages, for example, again, Punjabi or Hindi or Urdu, we use the word for like formal, like for somebody who's like younger than us, we use the word like tu or or tum, right? But for somebody who's older that we want to respect, we use the word like tusi or ap, right? And in French, it's the same way. If you have the word tu for you, but again, that's informal that you will use with your friends or like somebody like it's an informal setting. It's not really something like a work interview or something like that, or strangers or plural actually if there are more people. The other word is vous. This one is more formal. So Rabjot said s'il vous plaît. I think there's a little accent on it. S'il vous plaît. That is a more formal way of saying please for somebody you don't know. And so if there is somebody like your friend, for example, it's an informal. You could also use the word s'il te plaît. It's a little it's informal. So, oh, I think I put a T here. This is L. S'il te plaît. Okay. Anyway, we will learn this, I think, in one of the slides ahead. But please, for now, because we're ordering at a cafe, you don't know this person, it's a stranger. I think it is good to use the more polite version. So we'll say s'il vous plaît. That's the word for please. So if I'm ordering a sandwich, I'm going to say je voudrais un sandwich, s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais un sandwich, s'il vous plaît. I would like a sandwich, please. How do we say thank you, everybody? Like if once they give us the order, what we would say to them. Merci.
Mercy.
Yes, yes, exactly. So you want to say thank you, we say merci. If you want to say
Or
thank you,
mercy beaucoup.
yes, you exactly my thoughts. I was just going to say that. Thank you. So merci beaucoup is thank you very much or thanks a lot. So merci beaucoup. Beaucoup means very much. Beaucoup. That means a lot or very much. Merci beaucoup. Okay. And then I think now that you know this phrase, je voudrais and s'il vous plaît, and you've learned some vocabulary words for food, the common ones, I think you should be able to um, go and order something in French. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so this is just a dialogue conversation at a cafe. Let me just zoom in on that. So remember our very first class, we did like two people talking to each other. I think we could try something similar tonight. One person can play the role of the server, le serveur, um, and then one could be the customer, client. So Ben, would you like to try with me? And then we'll give the floor to students to practice a little bit.
Sure. Do you want to be the
Okay.
server or the guest?
So I'll read the server. You could do the guest.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to Ben comes in, I'm gonna ask him, hello, what would you like? So bonjour, vous désirez?
Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît. Which is, I would
Avec,
like a coffee, please.
thank you. Avec du sucre.
Oui, merci. Et une pomme, s'il vous plaît.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben. So avec du sucre means, avec means with. You can remember this word. Avec is with. Sucre is just, I think, easy to remember. It's like sugar. Du means some. See, I told you will keep seeing this word again and again with, especially with food. So avec du sucre. I could also ask avec du lait, with some milk, right? Sucre milk, yeah. Cream is crème. So if I wanted to ask avec du crème, I could ask that as well. And then depending on what you want and what you don't, you could say, wait, merci. And then they also want an apple with coffee. Anyway, so I would need 2 volunteers to do this conversation. Is anybody interested to do this dialogue play? Anmol, I see your hand raised. So Anmol is 1. And Himali. Okay, we have 2 volunteers. Anmol, you could play the role of the server.
Yeah.
By the way, this word here is désiré or désiré. If you can't roll your R, you could say désiré. So vous désirez.
I will try to pronounce it right.
Okay, absolutely. All right, ready? You can begin.
Bonjour, vous désirez? Am I audible?
Himali, yeah, yeah. Himali, go ahead, please.
Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît.
Avec des sucres?
Oui, merci. Et une pomme, s'il vous plaît.
Merci.
Okay, good. Just one thing, actually a couple of things. Excellent try, by the way. This was really good. Désiré. So the DE is easy to pronounce here. It's the R that trips people off. So désiré. And then je voudrais. Voudrais. I know the KH sound, but make it sound like, especially here, because R is one of the words embedded in this big word. So it's more like a very fast, subtle sound. Voudrais. Right? It's almost if you were to say would, yeah, voudrais. It's if you, I think it will be better to pronounce if you don't put too much emphasis on the just make it sound like a voudrais, like a quick and then just, yeah, it would help. Okay, I have 2 more people. No, I think Victoria, Prabjot, and Kelly. So Kelly and Prabjot, you could try. And Victoria, if there is no more volunteer, I will do the dialogue conversation with you. Okay, so Kelly and Prabjot, you're up. Kelly, you could do the server. Prabjot, you could do the client.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you just one more pronounce the I would like a coffee, please.
Je,
Like in French. Yeah.
oui. Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, I'll try. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Bonjour. Sorry. Bonjour. Vous désirez? Désirez?
Good. That's good. That's good.
Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît.
Good.
Avec du sucre?
Oui,
Sucre.
merci. Et une pomme, s'il vous plaît.
Merci.
Excellent. Okay. Sugar is just sucre. It's again very swift end at the end. Sucre. And the reason for that is it's not sucre because there's no, what if there was this at the end. Then you would say sucré, because this is the A sound. But if it is just E, then you don't have to pronounce it that way. It's just sucre. Okay, so sucre. Okay, great. Kritisha and Victoria. Kritisha, you could do the server, and Victoria, you could do the client.
Okay.
Okay. Bonjour. Sorry, what is this? Bonjour. Vous désirez.
Désiré.
Je veux que
Maybe just, you know what? Instead, it's coming more like a k sound. So maybe just try saying it like R. Desiree.
Okay.
You could say Ray for now. It's
Desiree.
Desiree. Yeah, that's fine. That's completely fine. Okay. Victoria, are you here?
Yeah.
I think. Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Je veux que un café, s'il vous plaît.
Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît. Good. That was good.
Avec de sucre.
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 No, just sucre.
Sucre.
Sucre. Yeah, very light. Sucre. Yeah, sucre.
Oui, merci. Okay. Oui, merci. Et un poum, s'il vous plaît.
Okay.
Let's
Good.
see.
Okay, good. Excellent, everybody. It's really good to try, and you get you get feedback and you get tips on how to improve. So thank you for all who volunteered. We're on to the very last slides. I've already explained this to you. So there's the slide here as well. When you want to talk about some of the things, for example, some bread, some rice, some bread or some water, we use this article. This is partitive article, which is du, the la, the le. By the way, when we say the, it's actually short form for the, no, not la, the le. So for masculine things, we combine them together and it becomes the. For feminines, however, it stays that way. So you could see the la stays that way for feminine objects. And then the le stays that way for the noun starting with a vowel as well. This is the same thing as, you see, when today at the very beginning I said we will learn how to order things at a cafe, au cafe. This o is actually, it's just like this. It's actually a combination of a, le. So if you are going, it's to a place which is like a store, which is masculine, we say o. However, if this was a place, for example, the bakery, the boulangerie, or la bibliothèque, which is library. Yeah, library is bibliothèque. It would be à la bibliothèque. Okay, so AU is just the short form of à le. It was used with the masculine noun. Today is a lot of information. I realize that. But it's just an introduction. We will keep repeating these concepts again and again. I'll keep refreshing those in the classes to come. And then this one, I guess for now, just focus on the zu, the la, and the le. Here's a slide to explain that. But I just wanted to let you know that this concept applies similarly to, like, if you were going to a place, like the word is mostly used as to. It's like a preposition. So the same concept applies to here, to the preposition as well. Okay, not spending too much time here. All right, so this is a memory game. This is a game. So we have 5 different food items here. Une pomme, un café, un gâteau. By the way, this is new. This is cake. But we did this when we did our alphabets weeks ago. So un gâteau, that's cake. Un sandwich et une salade. Okay. In the next slide, I'm going to disappear one of the items. And you have to tell in the chat which item is no longer there. Okay, so I think there's an answer somewhere, but I will try to do this. Okay. How do we write and spell some in French? It's this, sorry, somebody answered. Anmol, you're absolutely correct. But it's a cafe. Anmol, you answered first and the fastest, so you're perfect. Jeremiah, I love that you have your accents on your computer. I don't know if you're typing from your phone. I used to have my laptop keyboard in French. I think you can add the French keyboard from your Windows. Sheridan changed my laptop. I don't have it on this new one anymore, but yes, on your phone. Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's okay, and we'll if you want to say sorry, well, it's just a teaching moment here. You could say je suis désolé, although you do not need to apologize at all. But I'm just taking this as a teaching moment. I'm putting in the chat. You could say, sorry, I don't have my accents on, but it would be je suis désolé. I think the A is here, or is it on D? See, sometimes even I forget. So let me just double check. Where is the accent here? It is on, I think, D. Oh, it's on both. It's the accent is on both of them. So it's désolé. Anmol, because I see your surname's Kaur, so I'm assuming female. Females will write this extra E at the end, but if it were males, and if somebody was male and they were to say, I am sorry, they would just say, je suis désolé. No E at the end. Okay, so this is what males would say, and this is what females would say. Okay, somebody said how do we write and spell some in French? So, Pawan, it depends on if that some is a masculine, feminine, or plural. Actually, masculine or feminine. So if it is bread, for example, we know bread was masculine. Or this one, right? Ah, ghetto, that's masculine. For that, you would use du, right? If it is something that is feminine, maybe une salade, then you would say, if you wanted to say some, you would say the la salade. So it would mean some. The is a contraction. You've contracted the and le into the. That's the idea here. Okay. And then if it was something that started with a vowel, for example, water, right? Sorry, that's the answer for this slide. Then you would say the l'eau, some water. Okay, so some salad, de la salade, some water, de l'eau, some cake, du gâteau. Okay, the difference is masculine, right? Feminine, and the vowel, of course. Are we good with the concept of some in food? Du, de la, de le. Okay. Oh, this is a fun one. Whoever thought of this from my team, they all make the slides, by the way, and I only have to deliver. So a big shout out to the entire team for making very fun and interactive games and slides. This is one of the last things that we're going to do, so I'm gonna actually you know, pass the floor to Ben because I have to run now. Ben, this is just it's build your meal. So you have $7 and maybe Ben is the server at a cafe or something, and you're going to him to order food. You only have $7, so keep that in mind. There's no tax at this cafe, so the price is exactly what you're going to pay, no taxes. For $7, you have to order something. Okay. So you make your own meal and then come to the cafe and ask Ben for whatever it is that you need. And you have $7. So, for example, I will start and then I will leave it to you. So, Ben, je voudrais un gâteau, or I could say du gâteau, because some cake. Je voudrais du gâteau et un café, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, pain.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay. So that's what you're going to say. So any volunteers, if you want to just try different combinations, make sure you stay below your budget or exactly at the budget. I am going to stop the recording now because this is the last thing we're going to do. And then we have, again, you are welcome to stay to practice things. There's also a quiz coming up. So let me just stop. Oops. Recording.